You're listening to the Sustainable Parenting Podcast with me, Flora McCormick, licensed counselor and parenting coach of 15 years. I'm so happy to be with you today and excited to share with you what to say when your kid is irrationally upset. One of my favorite examples is I think of amazing mama Karen, who I worked with, and she had a 6-year-old who came to her with just tears and sobbing and was saying, I had found this stick and it was so cool and it looked like a candy cane. And then my friend thought it was neat, so I gave it to her. And then afterwards I thought, oh no, I'm never gonna find a stick like that ever again. Sobbing, emotional, so upset. Okay, all of us could probably picture ourselves in that moment just being like, are you kidding me? Like, does this even matter? There are children in Africa who don't have food to eat. I mean, I get in this like high horse in those kind of moments very easily. And she was like frustrated in that same way. And Karen went down the road of saying like, honey, okay, like I hear you and we're going to find other sticks. It's not a big deal. There's so many sticks in the world. Just resulted in more sobbing, more upset, just arguing back, but I'll never find a stick like that. I mean, I've never seen a stick like that before, so how can you know I'll find one again? Okay, so that's not working. So then she tries sort of a little more tough love, like, okay, well, this is a ridiculous thing to be upset about. You just need to calm down and move on. Sobbing increases, more upset. She starts saying then mean things to mom, like, you're so mean, you don't even care, which makes mom even more upset. The cycle was not getting anywhere. Sound familiar? If it does, here's the two main things I want to tell you to not say, and then I'll give you the number one thing to say. So the two main things that are so tempting to fall into that are not going to make it better is one, to try to reason and talk them out of it, or two, to then just try to minimize and say it's not a big deal. An easier way that I think about this is kind of fix or rescue. If we're trying to rescue by explaining how it'll feel better in the future, we often just get kickback. And if we try to fix it by just saying you need to stop that feeling and just get over that feeling, it often doesn't work. So here's what we do instead. That old way is kind of neck up parenting, focusing on rationalizing. And let's face it, in this moment, the kid is not in a rational brain state. We know from the amazing work of Bruce Perry that we can kind of think about the brain state in three main categories: regulate, relate, or reason. So if we were to picture a triangle, that regulate would be that small area at the tip of the triangle that is like when it's most explosive. Usually our kids are there the least amount of time, but it's a big, big feeling. They are hitting, harming, screaming, melting down, so irrationally inconsolable. Then we know they're in a state where they need help to regulate that dysregulated nervous system that's hijacked by their emotions and the part of their brain that's like the brain stem, the lizard brain it's sometimes called, the animal part that's fight, flight, or freeze. They also might be in a middle brain state that's the regulate section, like they're having a feeling, and that too is like the midbrain. It is taking over from the part of the brain that would otherwise be rational. So the third state is the rational part of the brain that, yes, can take in information, solve problems, be future focused, more logical. So I want you to think in that moment when your kid's being irrational, are they in the state of reasoning, or are they middle state of needing you to relate to their feelings, or are they in that third state of needing you to help them regulate their nervous system that's so hijacked? Likely it's somewhere in that middle or third stage, the regulate or reason. And so that's why I want you to let go of neck up parenting, of trying to fix or rescue, and instead lean into the essentially effective tool of name it to tame it. Now, this is super simple and yet super hard to do and super effective. Super hard to do because it's not where our gut wants to go. I'm going to tell you, you're going to try to go opposite of your gut in this moment to lean into name it to tame it. What does that look like? Going back to the stick example, when I worked with Karen, we walked through how that could have gone differently and played out differently. We said, so in a moment like that, it would look like you saying, boy, wow, you are so bummed that you don't have that stick anymore. Yes, mommy, I don't understand. Why did I give it to her? I'm just so sad and mad. Oh, you're just so sad and mad that you had found this super special stick and you wished you hadn't given it to her. You're now feeling some regret. You're naming what your child is experiencing and withholding all of the lecture and advice that you want to give. Like, it's not that big of a deal. We'll probably find another stick. No. We are completely letting go of what I call the power struggle rope and just holding their side of the rope with them. So we name it to tame it. Hear what they're saying and either put it into a word like, boy, you sound, and use a feeling word, frustrated, mad, disappointed, or name exactly what they're saying to you. I just wish I hadn't given to her because it was so special. Oh man, you just wish you hadn't given it to her because it's so special. And then pause. Friend, this might seem super simplistic, but I have had parent after parent come back to me and say, I could not believe how well that worked. Here I was trying to say all the right things and do all the right things, talk. And then all I said was, you sound, and inserted a feeling word, or said her exact words back to her. And she completely dissolved in that frustration and pretty quickly got to being more calm. And then we were able to solve the problem. So try it out, friend, this week. When you see that irrational child, I want you coming at you, try out this tool of name it to tame it. And if you've been getting value out of this podcast, I'd like to ask you a huge favor. If you could do me 3 solids. 1 is to subscribe so you don't miss a future episode. Be sure you download episodes as you listen. 2, share the podcast with a friend or family member. And 3, if you haven't yet joined my community, I have a Facebook group called Sustainable Parenting. That's a free place to connect more directly with me, or feel free to message me in Facebook or in email at Flora at Sustainable Parenting, because I'd love to hear from you. Friend, I hope this is another week where you get to use kindness and firmness at the same time so that parenting finally feels sustainable.